What up, guys? Welcome back to Off the Record, where we talk about whatever we want. And today we have a Ask an Expert segment with Ron, a pro fighter.
Hello.
Okay, Ron, I gotta know this. So we're all tubers. We know tubers who suck ass. We know tubers who are cool. As a fighter, you must know some popular fighters who are fucking shit, or either shit people or shit technique. And you're just like, how the fuck did they do this? And all that kind of shit. Without naming names necessarily, but you can, obviously, if you want. If you want to torpedo your career.
Yeah, you can. You have the freedom to, but...
There are some fighters there that are not so nice. It happens, you know, it's just the nature of people. And then there's some fighters out there that's like, they're in there and I'm not. But it's because of my own personal choices why I'm not there and they are.
No, it's not. It's some bullshit, dude.
I blame everything on myself.
That's right.
Don't you, like, because you have some of your teammates in the UFC, does it feel weird that you're like, oh man, I want to be there too?
Oh, definitely. I definitely want to be there all the time. I'm like, fudge, man.
You never think about, like, maybe, like, spiking their drink?
No.
Like, breaking a leg, and they're like, hey, I'm free.
Like a pageant girl.
Yeah.
They're there because they did what they were supposed to when they got there. You know, the reason why I'm not in the UFC yet is because I've dispersed my attention too many ways. You know, whereas my teammates that are in the UFC, they focused on nothing but getting there. You know.
Yeah.
But with me, all my endeavors that I've done across, you know, and then acquiring positions and whatnot. It took focus away from the main goal, which is give everything up, you know, and get into the UFC.
Why do you always take so much responsibility? Just blame somebody else for something. It's way more fun. It's so much more fun.
It's on me. I'm sorry.
Like, I have friends who went on SNL, and I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, man, we have such boring friends because they're so sensible and they're like, God.
They're like inspirational and
Yeah,
shit.
they don't have the victim mentality. It's I did it to myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Why can't we have friends that are a little bit more shittier like that?
That's what I'm saying.
Happy friends.
I also like how Ask the Expert is we're just going to talk to Bart's friends.
For now, we're the first couple. What are some of the biggest misconceptions of fighting, of MMA, you think? Or being a pro fighter. Like, what are some things that you think, oh man, the public definitely got this part of it wrong?
We're a bunch of meatheads. That's probably the biggest one. We're a bunch of meatheads, and we're very, very violent. So it's almost like the stigma that when you see a pit bull, you know, you're like, whoa, stay away from the pit bull. You know, we see somebody that says they're a cage fighter, an MMA fighter. They're like, whoa, man, don't beat me up. You know,
It's kind of cool, though, I think. I think that's pretty sick.
For me, it's almost kind of embarrassing. I'm actually kind of embarrassed to say it. It's a weird thing to say. You know, it's like, hey, you know, so what do you do? Oh, I'm a cage fighter.
I mean, that's so sick to say. Are you fucking kidding me?
It sounds so made up and like, you know, unrealistic.
That's true. It
sounds
sounds like
You
a
say
funny.
I'm a cage fighter and then take your drink and then drink it.
You know, in retrospect, I should have used it
I'm
more.
a cage fighter. I'm having steak now.
He doesn't want to be the meme.
Sir, you can't have that beer outside. Just because I said so.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Sir, what? Oh, I should have told you before I hit you. I can't have the beer outside. My bad.
You hit first and the order was off.
Strike first.
Do you ever visualize how you would take somebody down? Like, is that part of your guys' thing? Is just, and you're in the moment, like in the ring, do you visualize it?
Only when competing. And competing, like you strategize on what generally you're going to do, and then you actually memorize sequences that you may do. There's a few different styles of training, but one style is to memorize sequences. So you'll do a sequence of movements, and you'll practice that over and over until it becomes involuntary. Based on the fact that it may be effective against your opponent, and then come fight time, you run through that sequence because it's second nature.
What's the most popular thing that you see, maybe in the UFC, like, or technique-wise, that you're like, I wish they didn't do that, but that we don't even see at all?
One thing I see a lot is not checking leg kicks. So somebody coming from a Muay Thai background, a lot of MMA fighters. Well, the thing with MMA is you're not getting somebody that's a master in every single discipline. You're getting somebody that's really, really good in a bunch of disciplines and maybe a master of one, maybe two. You know, so you'll see, just like you'll see an MMA fighter fight a boxer, and most of the time they'll never win, you know, because they have so much more skill in straight punching than an MMA fighter, because an MMA fighter doesn't just punch. They elbow, they knee, they kick, they
Conor
grapple.
and Mayweather.
And Mayweather, you know, like a lot of people say that Conor McGregor actually did really, really good, but for me, looking at it, I felt that Mayweather was toying with him the whole time, and McGregor happened to just land a few heavy shots, by accident, because that's the striking. That's a game of striking. It's all probabilities, And then what happened towards the end? Mayweather picked it up. Like if you look closely at that fight, you'll see a major difference from the first few rounds to the last few rounds, and all of a sudden Mayweather all of a sudden got faster and sharper and quicker, because he was toying with him. Like he did it for the money. He put on a show.
Yeah.
And that's
He did it for our money. We watched it together. It was pretty sick.
Yeah, and it was a good show to watch.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Mayweather just like finished him in the first round? They'd be like, oh shoot, not watching this again.
Yeah,
What a
that's
chip. But he gave us a sense that, oh my gosh, McGregor might have a chance of finishing Mayweather.
Telling a story in there.
Yeah, he was storytelling.
Yeah.
Like
How
Mayweather's
about the Tyson fight? Like, what did you think about that? Well, because obviously they couldn't knock each other out and all that, and everyone was waiting for some like Tyson unleashing
I
his.
wanted it so bad.
Yeah, that was gonna be the second coming of Mike Tyson.
And I wasn't sure if they were really going at it or they were just sparring.
Honestly, I was eating dinner with my family, and the fight was going on. They asked me, "Are you going to watch the fight?" And I was like, "No." And I went back to eating because I knew exactly what was going on. It was going to be a freaking snore fest because one, they weren't allowed to kill each other.
Yeah.
So you knew the rules before? Because I didn't know about those rules.
I didn't either.
I didn't know it was gonna be a snore fest until I watched it and I was
We were
like,
hyped as fuck.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. Tyson on paper, can you because we think of Tyson you think of any fighter, you think of them in their prime. You don't think
Yeah.
of them at their worst, So when I
Yeah.
think Tyson, I'm like looking back at all his highlight reels. I look at Roy Jones Jr. I look at him doing all that crazy crap and knocking fools out.
Yeah.
But we don't think about the reality is that they're freaking two old dudes that probably just started training heavily like 4 weeks ago.
He still moves good though.
Oh, dude, he moves amazing.
yeah, it's crazy.
No matter how old you are, if you're a master at something, like you still have freaking great skill.
He also lost 100 pounds.
100 pounds?
Holy crap!
100 pounds.
He did.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, did.
It's amazing.
He looked good.
Yeah.
But I knew it was gonna happen. They released the rules like I think a week or two before the fight, and as soon as I saw that, I was like,
You knew what was gonna happen.
yeah, I was like, oh, this is literally.
I think we were
exhibition.
all hoping for Tyson to be a little like with this Holyfield match and just say fuck it.
Yep.
And then like the Warrior comes out because he kept talking about the Warrior.
The
and his
God of
competition.
War is alive inside me again. All that shit, dude. So
I thought it was gonna snap, and then we were gonna see that unleashed, but it didn't.
Yep, and it was obviously a one-off because if they were trying to build a sequel, they would have put more action into it.
Damn.
But I mean, nobody's gonna pay for a rematch.
I just think the God of War is a pussy now. Probably is what happened. He got possessed by the God of War, and God of War is kind of pussy now. He kind of,
To me, that wasn't even an edge fest. It was like didn't even get hard.
no.
What do you think about Mayweather and Logan Paul? You think that's gonna be like another snore fest?
You know what? I think that's going to be interesting when that happens. Why? Because of the size difference. Major size difference, and I don't. It's tough because I don't think it's good for boxing. Not because a YouTuber is fighting, but because if he stops Mayweather or hurts him, like it's going to completely like diminish. Because nobody thinks about the size difference or the strength difference. If he somehow wins, a YouTuber beat one of the greatest boxers of all time.
It'd be so great. I would love that.
So it would diminish, like it would like ruin
It will
the
hurt boxing.
yeah, like
would
ruin
hurt-
the legitimacy of boxing. You
Yeah.
think?
Well, because
Yeah,
then
same.
YouTubers would take over every single sport after
Yeah.
that,
You'll start
and I
seeing
can
it.
laugh my ass off.
Can you imagine, like, dude, YouTubers in the UFC, in golf, in basketball, in
Yes.
hockey, in freaking baseball.
And all it took was a following and barely any training.
Yeah, damn, that's crazy.
Is there any hope in hell though that he could win? I mean,
Honestly, I think there is because of the size
Really?
difference. Because of the size.
so Logan's so much bigger than Mayweather.
Because the
he's
punching power.
significantly bigger than Mayweather. You know,
Isn't Mayweather just like 5'6" or 5'7"?
he's my size.
Oh shit.
Mayweather's my size. Logan Paul's kind of a big dude.
He's like 6 something, right?
Yeah, he's a big guy. You know, and so physics have to come and play at some point. You know, and so I don't think Mayweather hits harder than Logan Paul just because of sheer size difference. You know.
But what about Mayweather's skill? Like he's got to be able to see it coming
Oh,
a
of course.
mile away.
I would say 9.9 times out of 10, Mayweather's gonna wreck him just based on technique. He's gonna gas him out, whatever. But it's not like Logan Paul is
Can't
completely
tell him,
untrained. It's not like he's
very
untrained.
athletic, yeah.
Like his work ethic actually shows. He's putting in the time. He just doesn't have the experience. But a punch is a punch, and nothing's guaranteed. You know, and so as good as Mayweather is, there's still a chance that Logan Paul may land a punch.
Holy shit! You're telling me to put money on this. You're literally telling me to put money on this fight.
I think it's a good bet. It's a good bet because
I'm a huge underdog, right? Logan Paul's
I would assume so. Yeah. I would assume he's a major underdog.
I'm gonna go hard on this. I think.
You know, I would go hard enough where if you lose it, it won't hurt you.
I don't play like that.
I don't play like that.
I don't play that game.
Maybe Logan might not win, but you can bet that he's gonna get a shot. He might land a punch.
Dude, if he knocks out Mayweather and then he wins, crazy. You're right. Boxing gets destroyed forever.
It's destroyed, and honestly, I think that's more feasible than his brother fighting like Dylan Dennis.
Oh,
no, that one I was like,
I think I just love chaos, though.
That one's gonna be chaotic.
Like, what's wrong with the Jake Paul fighting Dylan Dennis? You think Jake Paul win or Dylan Dennis would win?
I don't know.
Really, Dylan Dennis sucks that bad?
It's.
Because I know he's a jiu-jitsu expert, right?
He's amazing at jiu-jitsu, dude, but his hands
are that bad. Jake Paul looked like he just don't know how to. I mean, he just started boxing like a year or two ago, right?
It's tough, man, because fighting is fighting. You know, a punch is a punch. Like it's there. Dylan Dennis doesn't exactly have the tightest of defenses, so it only takes one lucky overhand, to really hurt somebody.
If you're telling Logan Paul right now, you're in his corner and you're like, here's how to take Mayweather down, what would you tell him?
I would tell him. Hold him, pick him up, put him into the corner because he's big enough to, and then just start wailing. F technique, don't be clean, don't
corner him and crowd him, and then
just corner him. Yeah, just completely fluster him. If Mayweather moves, he has no chance whatsoever. But luckily, there's a ring, and there are corners to the ring. So if Logan Paul can...
So if it was an octagon or a circle, Mayweather would have way better chance of circling out. But because it's a ring,
yeah, he can corner him. Yeah, if he can manage to corner Mayweather and just throw haymakers, that's his only chance of winning. If Mayweather can keep his distance, he has no chance. But if you can get him there, and it's as easy as literally just pushing him. I mean, he's big enough where if he pushes him hard once, he may fly to the ring.
And he's got that reach too. I mean, he's a big,
dude,
bigger
he's
dude.
a big freaking guy.
You could actually... Pushing in boxing is okay?
Yeah, you can push it, bah, 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 and then just throw. It's fun, yeah. It's nice.
But you can't, can you keep a stiff arm? Is that part of the rules? Are you allowed to?
You can stiff arm, you just can't hold on to them.
You can push off him, right?
You can shove your hand in his face, and as he pushes your hand off, you grab. We worked on that. Posting right in their face or shoulder to line up your shot. You can do that. You just can't hold on to him.
Blind him for a second.
I just knew that like different sports have different like rules and stuff.
Yeah. So boxing has its own rules. Kickboxing has its own rules. Muay Thai has its own rules. Sandshoe, all those.
You think they're gonna have headgear?
That I don't know.
It is supposed to be a pro fight.
Right. If it's pro, then there's no headgear.
If you were advising Jake Paul now, what would you tell him?
I would say train as hard as you can. Get every coach. I mean, because he's putting money into it. He's not just jumping in. He's getting I think he's getting professional training.
He has a
getting
ring
coaches
at his house.
Yeah, like he's actually putting
I think
serious
both of them
time.
do actually. They both bought like straight up like a legit ring. They just put in their house.
Yeah,
train.
They're training full time, and it's like. I gotta say they are gifted and they have good work ethic. I mean, they are where they are because of their work ethic, you know, not by luck, you know. And so they're taking that same work ethic and applying to boxing. The only difference is they're cramming like maybe 6 months to a year of training, and maybe putting 2 or 3 years of training in 6 to 12 months. That's why you did private, so you can accelerate your learning. You know, if you did it on your own, you wouldn't be as good as you are now. You know?
I still wouldn't challenge anybody.
No, yeah, they're very daring. They're very daring. You know, I wouldn't dream of fighting a professional athlete with only like a year or less of experience.
Do you think Logan would kick Bart's ass? Because I do. I think he would beat his ass.
I think maybe because one, he's way bigger, and two, he's probably putting in more time.
So can you just say out loud for me, like?
Because everyone wants to see that fight.
Yeah, if you were to go full time, because like we train maybe like what, twice a week, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't at the most.
At the most, time, yeah. You know, if you're training.
He's doing like 7 days a week.
Yeah, if you're training like 7 days a week, you might have a chance.
I would be here though.
You might have a chance.
I would be here.
But for now, you think
you would die. Yeah.
I would die?
You would die.
Oh,
dude,
shit.
Your cardio's shot. Like,
my cardio does
you haven't
suck.
trained since COVID, you know, and Jake Paul is freaking like training like right now probably. He's probably like running. Like,
there is footage of him training, both of the guys training right now.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know if Jake Paul's as big as Logan Paul.
No, I think he's much
your
smaller.
your own coach thinks both Pauls would kick your ass?
I know. What does that say? That means
Devastating.
Coach, what's up?
I have no potential. Yeah.
You know what the best thing about this is? What we just did to him? He's gonna be up at 3 a.m. now fucking.
No, I don't
Doing
give a fuck about
push-ups?
this.
He's like, nah, heck no.
My coach threw in the towel before I.
I'm throwing a wet nap.
Like, God damn.
So I guess what I'm getting from all of this is like, at the end of the day, size does matter big time in fighting.
That's why they have weight classes, right?
To a degree, yeah. If size didn't matter, there'd be no weight classes.
Yeah.
You know, but there's such a... He's got to have maybe like 50, 60 pounds on Mayweather?
Size and athleticism, though. So Logan's big, but he also knows how to move.
Yeah, he's an athlete.
If he's just big and he doesn't know how to move, I think it'd be way less.
He's athletic. If he was like if he was, who's not very athletic?
Clumsy.
Yeah, who's kind of clumsy, just like a regular person.
That's a pro fighter?
Like Jason Chen.
And he's Jason Shen. You know?
I mean, he moves way better now, but when he first started coming, like he was just so clumsy.
Yes, if it was pre-training Jason Shen,
yes,
you know, his only chance of winning would be to sing his way out of the fight. You know,
he captivates people with his music, and we're like,
yeah, because even if he was like 6 something, 200, yeah, if he was like 200 pounds, over 6 feet tall, he just the way he moved, he was gonna tell you what he's gonna do before he even did.
Yeah, just absolutely no chance. True. So if 200-pound, over 5 foot Jason Chen would get into a fight right now and trained to fight Mayweather, no chance. No chance.
If you were in Bart's corner,
God damn it,
Bart versus Logan Paul, I assume you'd be in his corner, but maybe be the guy who knocked you out.
I think he's gonna be in the other guy's corner. He's gonna be in Logan's corner.
Well,
he's gonna quit the day of the fight.
How does Bart beat Logan?
Bart would beat Logan on movement. He would have to keep he's going to play the same strategy as Mayweather was going to play. Tight defense, circling around, jumping in and out, and picking his shots. Logan Paul's going to fire heavy shots, heavy single shots, unless somehow he improves dramatically from now until the supposed fight. But he's going to fire single shots. He's going to make a miss, come in and out, pop, pop, in and out, pop, 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 and just break him down. We're not going to try to finish him. We're just going to try to just break him down. And hopefully his cardio is subject. If we're training, he's running a marathon. Like he's going to be running. And he would just pick his shots and break them down.
That's awesome. Dude, I want to just fucking ask you how to beat people, because this is very fascinating.
It's like a science, right? Yeah. He like cracks the codes.
On top of the just the technical how-tos, right? What I'm more thinking about is like, how do you stay level-headed with all the adrenaline? Because I was thinking earlier, like, you said after like, 3 fights, professional fights, you no longer get intimidated by humans that are aggressive and angry. They might be yelling at you at the bar or whatever, but then you just don't feel that fear that you used to, right? But that must apply in the ring too, right? Where it's like, you're just kind of, it's a sport now where you're just kind of like trying to figure out the area to go to in your head, instead of like being like, oh shit, I gotta get myself hyped up and then like kill this fool.
Yeah, now it's more like confidence grows over time, you know, with the experience and training, confidence grows. So I'm at this point now, it's like, I already put in all the work, now it's the fun part. Now I just got to execute. It's over, you know, let's do this. So just tunnel vision. Of course, you'll get butterflies just like performing in anything, you know. There's some sort of essence of fear. Nobody's fearless, but definitely I have much less fear now than I did in the beginning.
So the fear changes?
Fear of disappointment, fear of letting people down, fear of, that's my biggest fear.
So the first fear is like, I hope I hit them, or like, I hope I don't get hit hard, right? And then the second, then it grows into like, the other kind of fears.
No, so yeah, even it's literally just fear of disappointment, because so many people put so much time and effort into you, and then if you don't deliver, of course they still love you and care you and support you, and don't change coaches to the winning coach.
I think you should consider it.
Thanks.
Because I think the most people in the beginning is like, they'll be like, I don't want to get hurt. That's the basic fear, I think, that you first start off, is you don't want to get hit, and then or like I hope I could land this punch.
Fear is a good motivator. You know, once I finally got my first concussion, which was like last year, I think, it finally realized, it's like, hey, I don't want to get hit anymore. I'm like, it took 6 hours. I literally wasted 6 months of my life feeling not myself. And
so your defense got better?
Yeah. I fight different now, so I don't fight like this. I'm freaking here now. Like, it took a concussion for me to realize, like, hey, I don't want to feel like that ever again. So the fear of getting a concussion ever again is completely ingrained into like my being.
So like that anxiety control, when you're in these tough situations, what do you do? Tell yourself, or like, what works out in your mind where you stay calm or try to stay calm when you're like in a tense situation?
Singular focus. If you're thinking about too much, it's already over. You know, if you're in the midst of it, you're like, dang it, dude, what do I do to adjust? Like crap, like I'm losing, whatever, it's already over.
What about if your mind goes, I want to kill this person, but that's not a good idea? like when like I'm confronted, right? Like, or like I feel danger. Like I think while I'm still sensible, my mind goes like, what can I do to murder this guy as fast as possible? And then the other part is like, that's illegal. You're gonna go to jail. Don't do that.
That's once you put it in your head that you're going to kill somebody and you're capable of doing it, with the work ethic that you put in as a fighter, you're going to kill them. You know, same.
Thank God I'm untrained.
We gotta keep you untrained.
Yeah, and it's the same mentality when I go into a fight. You know, I'm not thinking I'm going to kill this guy. It's like, no, I'm going to destroy this guy. I'm going to implement my strategy. I'm going to beat him in the ways that I've trained to do it. You know, if my mentality was I need to end his life, then I would fight differently. You know, to end his life. So in a self-defense situation, it's never I need to put this guy in the hospital. I just need to subdue him. Literally, that's my most aggressive thought. I need to make it so he can't hit me.
Oh, like kind of like how judo guys would just drop them instead of like choking them out or whatever.
Yep. Just make it so they can't move.
I see.
You know, and that's as far as I go. I have no thought of ever trying to end somebody's life because I know I can't.
So because you're so trained in all this stuff, when you watch Mayweather fight, because I think Mayweather is probably the most boring champion we've had. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people think that. You think that too?
He's very boring.
Okay, cool.
But he's also very technical.
Yeah.
So it's like when I watch Mayweather, I'm going to school. I'm learning. You know, I'm not having fun. I'm learning.
It's like listening to jazz, right? It's not the funnest song, but it's probably like the most technical music you'll ever hear.
Yes, if I knew anything about music, maybe I could appreciate.
But when you're so this is great. So how would you take on Mayweather?
How would I take on Mayweather? That's gonna be tough because he's hits harder than me, he's faster than me, and he's got way more experience than me. And so my game is I would have to just walk forward. Same game as fighting against the same strategy as Logan Paul. I would try to push him in the corner and try to muscle my way. Tight defense as possible, and he'd get him in the corner where he's most vulnerable and just unload, but with tight defense. So instead of just winging shots, I would just throw quick, heavy, tight, 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 and in hopes that something gets through.
But that's also like boxing versus boxing, right?
Yeah, boxing, and then I would have to change my stance and my style too as well. If it was just boxing. If it was MMA, shoot, that changes.
Because then he's in your world.
That changes.
He would never do it.
Yeah, I will beat Mayweather in an MMA fight. Yeah. That I know for sure. And so it's just a
what
matter
fight
of,
would I beat Logan Paul in?
Holding your breath underwater, I
pretty
think.
good at tic-tac-toe, man.
Yeah,
like,
see?
ooh, dude, you'd freaking wreck that.
Laser tag, you're pretty good at laser tag.
Mafia.
Oh. What about Shady Agents?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. He doesn't even know what that game is. See, you can win.
Not even
That.
on his radar.
He better know. He doesn't want to lose.
Who's your favorite fighter, real quick, before we go?
Anderson Silva.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's creative.
How come?
He's creative. He's unorthodox. He's southpaw, well, most of the time, and I'm southpaw too as well. And he embodies that martial arts spirit that I love. I love the martial arts
Very
aspect of
honorable.
fighting.
He has a good balance of being honorable, but still very entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the fighter that if there was one I would want to be like.
Who's the GOAT boxer of all time?
The GOAT boxer of all time. I like Pacquiao. Bart? Kwan?
Yuck.
I don't think he's the best boxer of all time, but he's my favorite boxer.
Pacquiao?
His
his style's pretty entertaining.
He's very fun to watch.
His prime shit though, like wow. Yeah.
I think he can fight Mike McGregor. I think he's
Really?
I think they're talking about fighting McGregor.
Yeah.
Shit. When isn't McGregor fighting? He's literally fighting tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
So he'll fight again next week.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars.